Hello there, and welcome to another edition of iWake. It is Monday, November 19th, 2012, and I'm Tim Chaten. I'm back for another edition of iWake. Today's show is going to be a bit different in format, different in subject matter. I am back after my hiatus in moving to New Hampshire. I am now all settled in and in my new apartment, and you can probably see in the lighting that I actually have my projector turned on. So behind me is the wonderful projection screen, and I've got some cool stuff to talk about with all that. Basically, I'm back. Just had the internet set up today. It took Comcast 3 or 4 days to get over here and fix it properly to get my apartment all set up for this. So just a couple of things today. I just wanted to basically have this show as a way to get back into it and a way to make sure you guys know I'm still here, and the show is continuing on going into Thanksgiving week. I will be doing some shows this week, and it'll become a daily show once again. So first off, as part of the new job that I got, work bought me the iPhone 5. So I am now a proud owner of the iPhone 5 with all bills and expenses towards it paid for by someone else than me, which is a great thing. So couple of things about the iPhone 5. So far, I'm really impressed with the device. So I stole my iPhone 4S, I should say, and I actually ordered the wallet case, the book for the iPhone 5 is actually available now. So if you go to 12south.com, you'll actually see the book as something you can order. It's $60, and that's what the case I've used for my iPhone 4S, and I got the black version for my black iPhone 5. And it's now shipping or available to order. So that's on my way to me, and I'll be switching over completely to the iPhone 5 once that case arrives. But in the meantime, just some things about the iPhone 5 itself. So I've held the iPhone 5 before. That's not a new thing for me to hold. But to own one, to use one, is a completely different story. My device is on AT&T, and I do not have tethering or things like that enabled. But what I can tell you is, actually owning it, the screen. So the screen is surprisingly better. I didn't notice this when I just held the devices in my hand. Right, when you actually hold them, when you actually use it as your own device, I noticed the quality of the screen, not the size, but the actual quality of the screen was significantly better. It was the colors more vivid. It was more of a lifelike image, so to speak. And it makes my Retina screen, my iPhone 4S, seem quite bizarrely bad. It makes it seem quite not that good, actually, which is a weird thing to see. That the Retina screen on the 4S is just okay compared to the iPhone 5's beautiful rendition of Retina. This is a much better version of Retina, and it's something that's impressing me, quite frankly. So the screen itself, the size of it, is overall very good. It is a bit weird holding this device in my hand. I really am used to that smaller form factor. That little bit of tallness, it feels a bit awkward still for me to hold this in my hand, because I can't wrap my hand around this as I could the 4 and 4S. Now, it's something I'm sure I'll get used to, but I like being able to just wrap my hand around a phone top to bottom, and that's something I can't do with the 5. But that's not to say it's not a bad device or a bad product. It's just something that I should note that is, I guess, an adjustment period for sure. So what else about the 5? I got the black one, and many have reported it's scratching and things like that. I got it, and it shows no signs of such markings. I've tried to take as good care of it as I could, obviously, but I've not experienced any kind of I'm not sure what you call it, of markings or anything towards me like that. It's been pretty much flawless in that regard as far as build quality. So it might be that Apple figured out how to make it even more durable, or it might be just I got a good unit. As far as other things considered, the camera seems, I haven't done tests, but it seems good. The apps that aren't optimized for the 5 There's less and less of them these days, so it's actually a good experience for me using this as a new device. Now, one thing I did notice is the apps that don't have it optimized, it's kind of startling which ones don't. Like the YouTube app still isn't optimized, and the apps that you think would be optimized, some of them aren't. And it's overall not terrible, but overall, I guess okay with that regard. As far as it as a video watcher, it's great having 16:9. It'll be great to have. It's great for gaming. I've been playing the Angry Birds Star Wars edition on it. That is fantastic on this. And overall, a great little device. And it helps me get to that lightning. That lightning standard is now something I can go towards and move towards. And that is something that's very exciting. Now, let me turn off the heat while I record this episode here. Sorry for that background noise. But besides that, lightning is now something I'm going to be able to move to entirely. Pretty soon here, after I get some more paychecks, I'll be getting an iPad mini. I've held this device now in my hands, and it's stunning. It is really a fantastic device. The screen is a big improvement over the iPad 2, and it's just adorable. That's the one word I had for it. I went to see Lincoln a week before it came out, and actually got it in my hands on the iPad mini in the same shopping center back in Los Angeles, and it's just an adorable little thing. It's I think it'll be the iPad most people get. And for me, I think I'll be getting the iPad mini next, and then a year later I'll update my iPad 2 to a 5 or whatever. So I think I'm alternate years, but I think for most people it will be the main iPad. And it's the iPad I intend to put my SIM card into, and that'll be my data device as well, my data iPad. So beyond that, what else have I experienced over this journey in moving to New Hampshire? Something I did experience was the Microsoft Surface. So many have reported the Surface, when they go into the stores, they get accosted by staff and things like that. I did not have that experience. When I walked in, I was greeted or whatever, and they let me be. They didn't try to get me through to any demos, things like that. They just let me play with it. And overall, the Surface is a really cool device. But the reasons why it's not cool are big reasons. So first off, the size, it's awkward. The widescreen aspect of it makes it not the most fun of a device to use. It's really designed to be, I think, used at a tabletop or used in your hand kind of awkwardly. It's kind of big to be used in your hand, if I'd be quite frank. But it really is meant to be used at a table with their keyboard, and it's really this kind of mishap device where it's trying to be a laptop, it's trying to be a tablet, it's trying to be a convertible, it's trying to be all these things. And it's kind of buggy as far as when you're rotating things. It's not a fluid motion. It takes a second to, oh, I have to turn. Let me turn my screen around. The keyboard itself, the detachable one, really does work great. It instantly connects once you magnetically seal it there. It's really easy to type on, those great things. But my iPad Touch keyboard is, I think, very easy to use as well. So I think it's good, but it's really not that much better than the touch keyboards that are out there today. I found the kickstand itself kind of hard to open. So on the back, there's this little kickstand where you're able to kick out the stand for the Surface. And I found that really hard to actually open. So the other big thing I'd say, besides having the weird experience of having Office on its own desktop environment and you have Explorer in that environment, you have that weird experience with that. But the thing that really I have to warn people against with the Surface is the whole gaming environment. This thing is not a gaming device. I tried to play Jetpack Joyride on the Surface. And as many of you know, I have many, many hours booked into Jetpack Joyride. I am a veteran of the game. I have booked probably 2 weeks worth of gameplay. I know my stuff with Jetpack Joyride. I know how it should be working. I know how it should be animating. And this thing was really, really choppy. So the games overall, Jetpack Joyride and the others I tested that were installed on the device, were very, very choppy. And at a point that I wouldn't want to use it. This is not a device that I would recommend anyone use for games of any sort. It's a device that I would recommend use only for office and basic PC replacement things, as long as it's not graphics intensive. So Surface, it's got some potential. I'm not saying it's terrible. It's got a future, and I think all that's very intriguing. And I'm excited to see what version 2 does. But I think this version 1, way too big, way too kludgy. The gaming is just not there. I'd be curious what they would do with a smaller size. This feels way too big to me. I think Microsoft's vision of this is you're at your desk at work on the Surface, and you bring it home, and it's one device. But I think that's not what people are going to be using. So I think we live in a multiple device world, and that's just how it is. I personally love having a MacBook Air and having my iPad. I like having both of those. So that's an experience I had there. Now, just a weird thing I got to comment on is movies. Out east and here in New Hampshire versus out west in LA and out in Hawaii, I had the weird experience of just movies being out here in New Hampshire seeming kind of corny. The theaters, they don't do trailers properly out here, at least at the Cinemagic I was attending. They don't do a lot of things that I consider to provide a good experience with. And so just a weird experience with movies, I guess, I just want to comment on. And lastly, I guess, with Microsoft, I want to just wrap up with is the Windows 8 guy, Steven Sinofsky, is no more. He has left Microsoft, and he is moving on to other things. And this is big news. Basically, the head of Windows is no longer at Microsoft. So I'm going to be very curious to see how it develops, how it goes about after this, and it's very curious. It's similar to the Scott Forstall situation, with him being moved out of the company, and now Microsoft doing the same thing. So I'm curious to how Microsoft will adapt to all this. Now, the final piece of note is, as I open the show with, and as you can see on my face if you're watching the video, I have a projector. And so I'm throughout this week on iWake, I'm going to be going through me moving into a brand new apartment, getting to set up my tech life, my apartment, how I want. What are the things that I'm choosing to do that many may not choose to do? So one thing I'm choosing to do, I weighed my options, TV or projector. And I'm a guy that all I'm going to be using my television set for is Apple TV and maybe a Blu-ray player. Those are the two things I'll be using it for. I'm not getting a cable subscription. I'm going the Apple route. I'm getting my content through iTunes, all that good stuff. And I've been noticing how projectors have advanced over the years. You can now, I got a projector, $580 at just my local Best Buy, and what I was able to get with that is an Epson 710 HD. It's a 720p HD projector. Apple TV sees it at 1080p, and it looks very, very good in my setup right now. And this enables me to have, right now, a 175-inch screen on my back wall. So what I've done is, for now I'm using bed sheets, but in the future I'm going to get blackout fabric and just have the entire wall behind me be this huge screen that this projector in front of me is projecting onto. And this experience is so, so awesome. When I'm at home at night, and even during the daytime, once I get the blackout fabric, it's going to work great. But at night for now, I'm able to watch in glorious 175-inch viewing. The whole wall is this big TV, and I'm stunned that more people don't do this, because the reasons I want to do this, first off, mobility. A projector is very mobile, very durable. You can throw it in its carrying case, you're good to go, and you can get a new screen, or you can wrap up the screen, bring it with you. Versus a TV, it's got glass, it's going to break more easily. It's not a device. A TV is not a movable device, and that's very important to me. Also, it feels more like a movie experience when you have a huge projector, when you have a projector projecting out this image. It really does have this cool experience with doing that. Also, power-wise, it is more cost-effective, I have heard, to have a projection image than what you would have with a TV set. So there's lots and lots of benefits. Now, the one I have has speakers included with it. They're okay. But the cool thing here is with the Apple TV, I can have my Apple TV, my projector, all in the back of the room. And what I can do is now with Apple TV, I can have AirPlay speakers in the front, which they're coming, and we got some AirPlay speakers in the way. So I can have my speakers in the front that are AirPlay enabled, and wirelessly, I have my speakers all hooked up to my system here. And another cool thing is it works with the Mac and all the other things I use. So the projector, I think, is the way to go. That's just a couple thoughts there on the whole why we would go with the projector over a television set. I'm a big fan of this. When I am able to save up more money, there are projectors in the $1,300 range that do 1080p, that do 3D. So you're able to have 3D. A little bit more, you can actually have wireless HDMI, so you can have a projector separated from your components. There's all sorts of great advancements in projector technology, and it just keeps on getting better. As many have been looking at TVs going 4K and things like that, many have forgotten that projectors concurrently have been getting cheaper and better in build and value. And for me, it's a no-brainer, and it's a sure thing that I would recommend this to anybody really wanting to get a good setup for their apartment or home, whatever it is. Now, the projector I got is 2,800 lumens, and that's just a crazy high number that makes it usable during the daylight. Right now I'm using bed sheets behind me to get the image on the wall, but once I move to this new blackout fabric, it's going to be usable during the day or at night. So that's just a little bit on the whole projector scenario. I'll have more as to what it is to move into an apartment and things like that, as well as the daily Apple news that will be coming out on tomorrow and upcoming shows. So I'm back, and thank you for tuning into this kind of freeform edition of iWake. Lots of stuff to talk about. Thank you for tuning in, and I apologize, I really do. iWake again, listeners. It's been just kind of crazy with the move, trying to get a new episode out. So when I get episodes out, I'm going to crank out a bunch of them for you to make up for lost time. So my deep apologies there. iWake is now back on the air, and my intent is to get the show up as a daily thing, get iWake again rolling again with that. So thank you for tuning in. Show notes are available at iWakePodcast.com. The YouTube version of the show is at youtube.com/TCHATEN. And iWake again, iWakePodcast.com/again. Thank you for tuning in to today's show. I will talk to everyone again tomorrow for another edition of iWake. Aloha and have a great day. Greetings from Goffstown, New Hampshire.